Today, I want to tell you about one of Schubert's bleakest, in fact, one of music's bleakest songs ever. And I want to reveal some of the meaning behind that bleakness. So, come with me and let's have some fun!
Drüben hinterm Dorfe steht ein Leiermann.
This is Der Leiermann, the final song in Schubert's final song cycle, Winterreise. That means winter journey, and this is indeed a lonely and rather bleak journey. Winterreise is a series of 24 songs for piano and male voice, each song setting a poem by the same poet, Wilhelm Müller, and together they tell the tale of our hero, a grief-stricken young man who begins the song cycle having discovered his beloved has found someone else, which could be the basis of a comedy in the right hands. But here, I wouldn't bet on it. We're heading on a lonely journey through an icy landscape where we meet, well, a stream, a crow. In fact, we don't actually meet a single person until this final song in the cycle. And the man is Die Leiermann, an organ grinder, a beggar playing a tuneless hurdy-gurdy. His feet are bare on the ice. An image I've got to say I've always thought's a bit excessive. I mean, can't he use some leaves or some tree bark or something? But I suppose this is the romantic period, so you've just got to accept it. Instrumental sidebar, a hurdy-gurdy is a medieval instrument you play by turning a handle which creates a drone by rubbing strings. There's a keyboard that you can then play tunes over. So this isn't strictly an organ grinder, the sort who just turns a wheel. There is at least a small bit of musicianship involved, and this might be relevant later, so put a pin in that fact. You can actually hear the tuneless tune of the hurdy-gurdy. The left hand imitates the turning wheel of the drone. And the tune in the right. The song has no climax, no cadence, no verse-chorus structure. It just continues on, and I'm fighting the urge to say drones on, like the hurdy-gurdy. Schubert wasn't what you'd call famous at the time of his death, but he did have a tight-knit group of friends and acquaintances who loved to play his music and would come together for musical evenings, known as Schubert. what?
Schubertiad.
Schubertiadi? Anyway, Schubert's musical evenings, where they would play and listen to Schubert's music. It was at one of these evenings that this song cycle was premiered, and the first performance didn't exactly go down well. Schubert's friends were taken aback by the gloominess of the songs. There's a bitterness in the cold, a bleakness, an isolation, a pain, a touch of death on everything, but that wasn't a surprise, because Schubert, only just 30 years old at the time, was already dying. We like to go on, well, I do at least, about Mozart's untimely death at 36. How much more flabbergasting is Schubert's early exit, 5 years younger than Mozart. My old music teacher used to say, if Schubert had lived to be an old man, he would be known as the greatest world's living composer, bar none, and he might have earned a more distinguished grave. However, it's February 1827, just a year before Schubert's untimely death, and we are at the premiere of Die Leiermann. Schubert was single. He had not yet found a partner. He was what you might call ugly, just over 5 foot, plump, and not exactly of a healthy constitution. He had been in love a few times, but those feelings had never been reciprocated, and Schubert, now in his 30s, must have felt painfully single. His brief experience of actual love was from visits to prostitutes years earlier, visits that probably caused the syphilis that many think caused his death. Schubert had certainly suffered recurring bouts of ill health. He knew he wasn't well, and the fear he was dying probably lies behind Winterreise. Schubert was also relatively unrecognised as a composer. Now, that doesn't mean he wasn't known in Vienna, but he hadn't achieved any kind of international reach. No professional orchestra had played a note of his symphonies. He must have been worrying he was a failure. And yet, the music just kept pouring out of him, as if unbidden. When a contemporary remarked on his industriousness, he just said, "When one piece is finished, I begin another." The output in his final year, after Winterreise, is beyond staggering. The B-flat trio? Or the E-flat trio? The cello quintet? Great C major symphony? The final 3 piano sonatas? Each of these works is colossal. Schubert was producing masterpieces and the world didn't know. He must have doubted his own genius, and yet the music just kept coming. Famous or unknown, Schubert just couldn't stop composing. And indeed he was even editing Winterreise, including this very song on his deathbed. Which takes us back to the hurdy-gurdy man. People speculate on him, and most often this speculation ends with the idea that the hurdy-gurdy man represents death. Maybe, but it seems to me that when Schubert looks at the organ grinder, he's also looking at himself. Is this all he's ever been? A half-blind, useless artist, sending tuneless rubbish into a world that isn't even listening? This is a song about love, or rather the absence of love, the absence even of appreciation. Schubert, about to die, was composing masterpieces at will, undiscovered until after his death. He must have thought it had all been a waste of time, and that thought must truly have haunted him. Little wonder this isn't just Schubert's saddest song, but one of the saddest songs in all of music.
Drüben hinterm Dorfe steht ein Leiermann. Und mit starren Fingern dreht was kann. Barfuß auf dem Eise wankt hin und her. Und sein kleiner Teller bleibt ihm immer leer. Und sein kleiner Teller bleibt ihm immer leer. Keiner mag ihn hören, keiner sieht ihn an. Und die Hunde knurren den alten Mann. Und lässt es gehen, alles wie es will. Dreht und seine Leier steht ihm nimmer still. Dreht und seine Leier steht ihm nimmer still. Wunderlicher Alter, soll ich mit dir gehen? Willst zu